Hey everyone, Britt and Chris Carmichael here, bringing you the Elevated Life series where we teach you simple mindset shifts to create radical transformation in your life. And if you're someone who struggles with making decisions, you get caught between thinking and logic and your soul's voice and like feeling your way through your decisions, this 5-step method is going to help you to make difficult decisions. I want to know, who's tuning in live, and do you struggle with making decisions? Sometimes difficult decisions come up in life and we struggle between like, oh, but this sounds like a good idea, but I think this might not be okay. If that's you, then stick around for this video because these questions, our method, are going to help you to discover your true answer.
Yeah, the brain is such a wonderful mechanism if we use it the right way. And one of the things that we forget to do often is we worry. And so we're like really programming the brain as to how to respond. We're saying, oh, well, we want more of this in our experience. And the right way to use the brain is to really ask it questions. It's not always about just positivity, but it's always about asking it questions. The brain's very logical. It's wonderful for reasoning. It's wonderful for figuring out which path do I really want to take, despite the fact you need to listen to your heart as well. But when you ask it questions, you get back really phenomenal answers. So get in the habit of asking those questions because that's exactly what we're talking about today.
Yeah, Ashley says, I'm so indecisive. I mean, I'm a Libra, and one of our traits is known for being indecisive because we're the scales of balance. So we use our logic and our intuition to make those decisions. And sometimes, like Chris said, it's those questions that create the clarity that you actually need to get out of your head and back into your heart. Because ultimately, when we make decisions from the heart with intention and they're in alignment with what our soul is looking for, then those decisions are ultimately going to lead you to that next level of growth in your life.
Yeah, I'll tell you, Britt's method for doing this really is always picking both. It's always, as the Libra, she always picks, no matter what. It's both. The answer is always both. When I ask, hey, do you want to do this or that? Hey, let's do both of them.
Let's do both. Okay, or would you like to eat a this or a that? I'm like, oh, let's get both. He's like, why do I even ask? I'm like, if the answer can be both, why not have both? Because there's something beautiful in every choice. It's just, you know, what kind of experience are you gonna have on the other side of that decision?
Yeah. So let's talk about the first question. The first question to ask if you're coming up on a difficult decision, something that's hard for you, is to say, am I doing this for myself or am I doing this for other people? And really what we're talking about, am I people pleasing? Because the worst thing is to get far off down into your life and realize you're living someone else's dream, that it was never what you wanted to do. You're dressing a way that's not authentic for you. You have a career that's not authentic. You're in a relationship that's not the person you want to be with. You did all those things because someone else wanted you to. So before I even get into anything, I always ask myself, am I doing this for me? Is this actually what I want, or is it about somebody else?
I just want to take a minute. I think all of our comments just like flooded in at once. We weren't getting any of them. So hello, everyone who's watching live. Hey, Alex. Hey, Julia. Just take a moment to say hello. If you're watching, leave where you're watching from in the comments below. And is this resonating with you? Are you someone who is like, I really struggle with making these difficult decisions? Or maybe you're someone who struggles with making the small decisions. That's a hard word. It's really hard to spell too. Like trying to write it down on our notes today, I was like, how do you spell this word again? Anyway, I just wanted to thank you for all being here live. This topic is something that I think everyone can use, from making decisions at the grocery store to making life-changing, soul purpose, like passionate choices in your life.
Yeah, the big deal on this one is just to make sure that you're living your own dream, because a lot of people will try to get you to live theirs because they didn't have the courage to. And so rather than them living vicariously through you, you need to let them know, hey, I think I'm going to go my own way this time.
I'm going to do me.
I appreciate what you're telling me. I'll take that in consideration. But at the same time, I'm just going to do my own way. And that'll be that.
We've got someone watching from South Africa, South Korea. Oh my gosh, it's so amazing. Thank you so much for tuning in. So the second question we ask ourselves when we're making these difficult decisions is, what would I do if I knew that I would succeed? Right? I asked this question to one of my clients yesterday, and I had her imagine herself, if there were no obstacles, if there was no fear, if you knew 1000% that this was the dream person for you and that this career choice that you're making today would be so successful and would be everything you've ever dreamed of, like, what would you act like? How would you show up? How would you speak to yourself and to other people? Start imagining yourself in this future that you are successful. And it was the most amazing thing because she cried and she said, I would be so different today. knowing that if I were to succeed in the future, I'm not showing up as that person that is successful in the future. So ask yourself, what would I do if I knew that I would succeed? You'd probably take more confident and courageous action towards your goals.
Yeah, another great way to look at this is to think, what will this look like, and what's the work I have to put into it? In other words, what's going to be required of me? Because there's a lot of things that we want in life, but you realize that's a lot of work. I may not want to do that. Like I'd love to make a quilt right now, but I'm not going to sit down and make a quilt. I love quilts, but it's too much, so I don't need to do that. So always be thinking, what is this going to take out of me? What will this look like in 5 years? And this brings us to the third question. And I think this is probably one of the best ones. And that is, who has gone through this that I can talk to? So if you're coming up with something and you want to make a decision about it, but there's someone else that you know that's been in the exact same kind of situation, maybe they bought a new house, or maybe they're, searching for a car, whatever the case may be. Went through a divorce, and just say, hey, what was this like for you? Can you kind of give me a heads up? You get so much insight, and you start asking questions that a lot of times people aren't asking other people. You're like saying, hey, give me the genius details that you've had through your experience. And that way you don't have to always reinvent the wheel. Someone can shortcut that path, say, oh, no, you don't want to do that. Call this person first, then go over here and do that. And so find out who that person is. Is there someone in my life or someone else that I can reach out to? We've got the internet now. Is there someone else I can reach out to that has gone through this that can help me?
Tony Robbins has said in the past, success leaves clues. So there are people that have gone before you that have failed, that have succeeded, and that have learned so much, that are willing to share. I mean, if you walk into any bookstore, like there's so much information, right? And that's exactly why we created The Elevated Life, because we've gone through so much of this transformation, not only spiritually, but physically, in our relationship, and our mental health and well-being, and our success, and being an entrepreneur. We've transformed in so many areas, and so that's why we wanted to come on here and be that mentor, to share that wisdom and information. Like, it doesn't have to, like, change is scary, sure, but it doesn't have to be hard, and that's why we like guiding you through this transformation and elevating your life.
Yeah, it's also about, we see so many other people, because this has been our purpose and passion for so long now, just to inspire other people, to get them to do the things that they know they really want to do in life. And being able to see so many people from different walks of life, different education backgrounds, all these kind of things, we're able to really tap into, oh, well, this is the driver that actually moves people. Because, hey, we've seen this before. We've seen someone in your exact situation, and they did this, and this worked. That's why it's so great to have a coach or someone to mentor you, because you can get that kind of feedback that you can't get anywhere else.
Oh, hey, Lisa. Hey, Ashley. Lisa says, hey, lovely peeps, was thinking about you both today. I just said to myself, I'm ready to join the Elevated Life again. Oh my gosh, Lisa, we would love to have you back inside the club, because next month in July, we are talking about finding your purpose and your passion, and being able to marry those together if you want to create a career out of it. I think that's ultimately the most fun that we have found in our life. We've always said we wanted to work together. We always said we wanted to work for ourselves. And over the last decade or longer, we've been trying to figure out, should you do hair? Should I go into real estate with you? Like, what's that thing? And we found it. Like, our thing is the elevated life. Like, that's what we're going to be buried. Like, when you put us in the ground, we will still be showing up, speaking the same wisdom and the same truth, because the message is the same. Love is love, be kind, but sometimes you gotta hear it a few more times, and you need that accountability and that mentorship. And that's really what the Elevated Life is for, is to hold you accountable to living your most elevated life.
Oof.
Damn.
All right.
Okay.
Question number 4. Here we go. On to making difficult decisions. So the fourth question is, ask yourself, what is the best case scenario? And also ask yourself, what's the worst case scenario? And can you live with either of them? Like, does the best case scenario super excite you? And the worst case scenario, something like, if this just goes totally south, I can live with that. Then that's a decision you can make.
And it's so, again, we're future projecting. Like, if you know you're going to succeed, then you start showing up more courageously and confidently. Julia said she would definitely show up differently if she knew she would be successful.
Yeah.
Well, if you're going to be successful, you're going to have to show up as that confident version of yourself. Like, that's how it works.
Doesn't that make it easy, though? When you think, hey, I want success in my life, you can think, well, what would the version of me that was successful do? And then you just do that, and you do that repeatedly.
We're literally pretending. We're pretending to not be confident. We're pretending not to be good enough, and we can pretend to be successful. So it's your choice and your decision. And when you play these scenarios and ask these questions in your head, what's the worst case scenario that can happen? Not only are you preparing yourself, like, okay, well, if that can happen, I know that I'm ready for this. Not to trip you up and make like all this fear get in the way of you actually taking action, us projecting out and going, what is the worst that could happen? Oh, well, I'm not going to die. Okay, I might as well just try it, right? And when we have that future vision, we are prepared so that we're not bamboozled when things do go amiss, right? We're like, oh, I thought that this could happen, and now I'm moving towards the solution rather than getting caught up in fear and like, oh, I'm a failure and this didn't work out. Like, so many things don't work out the first, second, and 50th time. You just have to keep going. I'm just loving today's topic. Are you guys? I mean, dude, I am passionate. Okay, ask your friends this. Go around and do a survey and ask everyone you know, like, can you describe me in one word? And you will be so surprised at the answers that you get. And I remember asking our CrossFit coach, describe me in one word. I mean, he sees me in a different light. He goes, Britt, you're passionate. And I remember thinking, well, that's lame. Like, I want to be something cooler, like badass, like, come on. And over time, I've realized that's the most beautiful skill that I've cultivated in my life, is that I've only lived for things that I'm passionate about. I say no to all of the bullshit in life, and I just say yes to the stuff that feels good and that lights me up. And you ask, well, how do you have so many successful businesses? Because I'm not going to a job 9 to 5, miserable, wishing I was doing something else. So find what lights you up. This is what I teach in Shine School. And use your passions to fulfill your purpose, because your purpose is to be love and to bring joy and peace to the world.
Come, girl. I'm loving it.
Killing it today. How are you guys loving this? What's your takeaway from today? We've got one last question you can ask yourself to deal with these difficult decisions in your life.
Yes, and that is, how does this make me feel? So pulling ourselves out of our brain now and getting into the heart, because this is always the last question, right? This is always, how will I feel? Will I experience something where I'll look back and go, man, that was awesome. This is a great decision. This is one of those pivotal moments in my whole life where I'm going to look back and go, I should have never done that. I just walked into a fire. What was I thinking? And so ask yourself like that. What am I feeling? What's that gut feeling that am I saying? Is it saying go for it for sure? Or is something really holding me back? And once you do these, once you ask yourself through these 5 questions, it makes really difficult decisions easy. I mean, even with this one, if it's a no inside, it's definitely a no outside. The no is going to come straight out of my mouth. If I don't feel right doing it, forget it. So ask yourself these questions and get to a spot where you're feeling comfortable making these difficult decisions. Because what you're seeing is Britt at this stage, but 10 years ago when Britt was first starting to think about this stuff, it wasn't easy. And it takes a ton of courage. And it takes a lot of people telling you you're doing it wrong, and a lot of people who are showing up with a lot of negativity, a lot of doors slamming, you questioning yourself and wondering if this is right. But that's part of the road. You know, the passion road, the purpose road is the high road, and it's always going to be harder. But that's what makes it really rewarding, is because that hard work ends up building your character. You end up being able to walk through fire and be okay with that and saying, hey, I can endure this. That's why so many people sit on the sideline for their whole life, is because it's difficult. You know, and anyone who tells you it's going to be easy is just totally lying. It's one of those things where you'll have to come up with the most courage and be totally fine with being on the ground the whole time, and then continuously wanting to get up. And eventually you're so resilient it doesn't matter anymore. And that's what passion and purpose is. It's about being resilient, being able to continuously push forward.
Yeah, they say if it's not a hell yes, it's a hell no. So make it that simple. If it doesn't light you up, then the answer is no. And it's okay if you disappoint people. It's okay to say no, because there's going to be beautiful opportunities on the other side of that no that are an absolute hell yes. And sometimes, like Chris said, the universe tests you over and over again to build that resiliency, to build that confidence and courage. Because if I would have came out of the womb like this, I wouldn't have perspective. I wouldn't know. And now, like Chris said, if you guys Google me 10 years ago, it was embarrassing. Like, it was me not loving myself. It was me not taking care of myself. It was me doubting myself. Although I was doing all the things that I wanted to be doing, I had this layer of self-doubt that was clouding all of my shine. And so I come on these lives every single week and create emails and content and courses and everything I can do to help encourage and inspire you to break free of the fear that holds you back from shining your light, because that is the ultimate freedom that you are searching for.
On the fire.
What did you put in my cereal this morning? Oh my gosh.
It is Friday. Listen, go out there and kick some ass. Go through those, whatever you're facing that you're saying, this has been hard. go through all of this and watch this back, write those questions down, watch this back, and ask yourself those things and say, am I living a life for me? Am I living a life of my choosing? Am I in the driver's seat? And if you're not, this is the perfect time to get in there. It doesn't mean you have to sit on the sideline the whole time. Get in that driver's seat, drive your life, go with the things that light you up, feel that joy, bring it, and that's how we're going to change the world. We're changing the world by doing the things that we love, by making our own individual lives great. We always inspire other people to do the exact same thing. And so that's how we'll change things. That's how the world will be different. That's how this place can be utopia. It's all got to start with you, just like it all starts with me. So get out there and make it freaking happen.
And if all else fails and you still can't make this difficult decision in your life, just consult your tarot cards. They never lie, okay?
I love it.
They never lie. Angie says, yes, this resonates so much. I always try to focus more on how does this decision make me feel, not what others want for me.
So important.
Oh my gosh, if I would have done everything that my family wanted for me, I would be like some lame-o, like, I would be in college debt, lame-o, like, I don't know, like lawyer or something, no offense, but you know, like just not in alignment with what is true for who I am and what my passions are. They were trying to align me with what will make you a lot of money, what will make you successful, what will make you whatever. And now we're starting to wake up and realize that it's our purpose that drives everything. And when we tune into our passions, we become that magnet for abundance. We grew up in trailers, okay? We grew up in a trailer park. Okay, so if that doesn't prove that doing it completely different, throwing out all the blueprints that society has perfectly orchestrated for you to follow this plan and go to college and do all this bullshit, let me just break it down for you real quick. If you follow your passions and you do what you love every day, your energy becomes this amazing magnet to attract new opportunities, new experiences, the life that you're dreaming of. I was dreaming of this life as a child. I dreamt of Chris and being with my like the perfect partner. I dreamt of being in business for myself. Like everything I've ever dreamed of, I am living and continuing to live and continuing to grow. And I know that that is true for you, but you've got to get out of your own way. And these 5 steps to help you to make these difficult decisions are going to help you to put yourself, your confidence, your power back into the driver's seat.
Listen, if you're not fired up by now.
I don't know, man. I'm about to explode like
Can I get an amen, right?
Yes, that's why I do now what I am passionate about.
Beautiful.
Yes, Angie, so beautiful. I tell you what, if you guys aren't inspired today, that's our famous elevated life word, then I don't know what to tell you. And if you love this, then you'll love the Elevated Life Membership Club, where we're going to be talking all about passion and purpose in July. So if you're someone who needs that accountability, that needs to talk to a mentor who's willing to share all of their wisdom and to make it easy and give you a step-by-step plan on, hey, you want to change your diet, you want to change your business, you want to change your relationship, you want to talk to dead people, whatever you want to do, we can help guide you to that next level because we've been there and this is our mission, this is our purpose. And when you see someone who is living their purpose, they shine. And that's exactly what Shine School is all about, is getting people back into doing what they love and believing in themselves. So my wish for you is that this weekend you find something that lights you up so much that you lose track of time. You don't even know what day it is. And you have this realization like, oh, this is what I love to do, whether it be in nature, spending time with children or dogs or singing or writing or drawing, whatever it may be. I hope you have the most beautiful weekend doing what lights you up.
Adios.
Thank you so much for tuning in to The Elevated Life. We'll see you guys on Friday at 11 a.m. Central Standard Time. If you know someone who would love this message, please tag them in the comments below. Share the video. Spread the good vibes. We appreciate all the good karma you guys send our way. Oh, thank you. Thank you, everyone. Oh, my gosh. Thanks for tuning in. Let me just catch up with everyone's comments. How do you balance kids into that? Take them to the daycare. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. Into what? Into like what you love, like include them, because maybe you can help them develop their passions and their talents and skills. They don't have to be the same as yours, but if you guys set aside time to say, hey, right now is like creative time. Like let's figure out something that we really like to do and give them the space to explore rather than saying, hey, get on the phone. Mom's busy trying to do her thing or build her website or write her book or whatever it may be.
you know, the way you really do it, and this is how, if you have time constraints with anything, if you're working 2 jobs, you're like, oh, how am I still going to do this? You just pull out a small piece every day. You know, if every day you feel like I woke up today and I worked on my passion some, or I worked on my purpose some, I did something towards that. It doesn't matter if it's a half step forward. Who cares? So long as you're continuously working on it and you're starting to fill yourself with all of those wonderful things, you know, joy and happiness and all that, and you're bringing that out into the world, and you're bringing that to your kids, and you're bringing that to your job, and you're bringing that to your drive to work, like, that's what this whole thing is about. So bring them into it, like Britt said, but just carve out a small time. If it's only 10 or 15 minutes, that's 10 or 15 minutes. Just start there and do that every single day. Because by the end of the year, guess how much further you are now than if you're just like, well, I didn't have 5 hours. I couldn't do it for 24 hours a day, so I couldn't do it. Don't be that person. Just a little sliver is totally fine. Little sliver over time.
I literally wrote 5 sentences in my guidebook before we got on here. I mean, I had just enough time to sit down, write some tweaks, and then here we are. So small bits. You don't have to carve out 6 weeks of your life to, you know, to make those changes.
Nothing's built like that.
Literally, just Chris, this is my favorite rule we'll leave you with, and then we are out. If you can do it in under 2 minutes, do it right now. And don't wait. That's where procrastination steps in. Baby steps go a long way.
It's true.
Yes, they do. Thank you so much for tuning in here for the Elevated Life series. We love inspiring you to elevate your life in each and every area, because when you make one change, it ripple effects not only in your life, but the community around you. So we hope that this elevated you to be able to make those difficult decisions in life so that you do follow your passions and purpose, so that you do say yes to the things that light you up, and you no longer live someone else's dream.
Adios, y'all.
Dang, man. Have a great weekend. Peace, guys.
Bye.
See ya.